Look at if we can take one niche at a time and try it. That will give you lower risk. It will probably give you a higher yield because you can turn the knobs in different places. And it's easier to explain both to investors and to customers. Now, you need something that will inspire you and will inspire customers. This is something that, this is an old friend, I would almost say, for 20 years I've been showing this movie in different meetings, and a lot to investors and industry. Most of you have seen it, I guess. It's called Sims, work that's very much ahead of time from 1993. And what you see here is something that no human has created. It's creatures which are evolved, you define an environment and they are evolved. And it's absolutely amazing that we could do that with the computers alive at that time. But what you see here is creativity. You see cheating sometimes. If you can divide by zero instead of doing this very exhaustive things, you do that. All of these things, it looks alive. And it seems as if you're getting more out of it than you put in this case. So here, neither the morphology nor the behavior is defined by a human. It's evolved in the process. And this little gimmick, this film, has been a good illustration when you talk to people outside research. And I find it still amazing. It's a little while since I saw it. See, walking is more difficult than swimming. And jumping is even more difficult. And here's the mean researcher trying to get some kind of goal-directed behavior. It looks like if it really wants to get there, which I like. It looks a little bit alive. The last part of this movie is about competition. Not everyone has seen this because the movie exists in two versions. Here, two opponents are involved that will have more children if they can grab the green box from the opponent. And it's interesting to see that they compete both in strategy, strength, but also morphology. They evolve kind of protective arms and other things. Or flying under the radar behavior that you saw there, grabbing something and protecting it. And but it also can, if you want to, everyone wants to hear about the dangers of technology, and you can see this is actually an aggressive behavior, and it evolves by its own. So there is some reason for looking after really smart technology. But this is amazing stuff, and it's good to have something that will catch the layman's interest. The next rule, think of some kind of sidekick, some kind of very, very visually attractive illustration of your work. The blue screen says the same as the robot up there, more or less. And we as researchers, we can see that it's 0.5 instead of 0.7 and get excited. But it won't excite a journalist or an investor. And it probably even won't excite your fellow researchers as much as you think. So having something that creates interest is good. And Elvis and our robotic work started just as a student workshop, and then started to live its own life. Elvis has been on 20 different countries' television, and which might be a good or bad thing, but it's good if you want publicity, and it's good to have something. Then maybe we get a little bit carried away and get Priscilla to see to the left here, which was a full-size humanoid built around a plastic human skeleton. And the lesson to be learned here really is that we have two brain halves, either we want it or not. And one brain half can do research, and the other is pretty much a cow or a monkey. It wants to see colors and movements, and otherwise it gets bored and sends some neurotransmitters to the other side and say, aren't you also bored? So you need to make both brain halves happy. I mean, that's true for entrepreneuring, but that's true for a lot of things. Otherwise, the other brain half will just, I'm bored. So some visual illustration is of course good. Always have a thesis you are pushing in a talk, something that you want to say. And in the AI field, which is so hot right now, and so close to real problems on many kinds, I believe that almost every publication, if you can get through that needle to someone saying this is unique, this is worth to spread, then there's probably a commercial side to that idea too. It might be very big, or it might be smaller. It might just be writing a book about it. That's what I really believe. And I've always thought that research and entrepreneuring is very similar. In both cases, it's about an idea. It's about an idea that can fly a little bit even without you. So you have an idea, you present it, and you set it up, and it should be able to live its own life a little bit, as with a good research topic. If it's just you that likes it and have to push it all the time, then it's not a good thing. And it's the same, of course, with the business idea. The other rule is called Orgel's rule. I didn't know that, but it's called Orgel's rule. And it's, remember, the evolution is smarter than you. We can be very clever when we set things up, but we must allow for a lot of different tribes, a lot of diversity, randomness, and we cannot plan ahead. We must often steer as we go. Talking about this, I would like to stop for a while and give you a very, very recent story. It's about a company that I co-founded 12 years ago in Gothenburg. It's called Ph.D. It does artificial intelligence and computer support because it's part of semantic. So it helps you fix your computer problems and does some clever AI in different ways to do that. Ph.D. has been, like everything, a long journey, but it was sold 3 weeks ago. And I hope this isn't secret. Then we have to edit the film. I don't think so. It was sold 3 weeks ago to an American company. And I got my money yesterday, so it's kind of fresh. I didn't get much more than pizza. A little bit more. I thought it would be pizza. But what I want to say with these kind of big numbers is that it really happens. I met a lot of people, and maybe that can be some kind of inspiration that there is value in sometimes quite simple ideas. And Ph.D. may now, 12 years later, look at a success story. But if you look at entrepreneurship, and now it comes into what's different with entrepreneurship than maybe research, you have another side of it also, always. So if you lock down 15 colorful, enthusiastic persons in a room, they are basically there 24/7. You say if you do good, you will get 1 million. And is this a reality show, or as you say in Sweden, docu-soap? No, it's an average startup, and it's kind of the same things that happen to people. And if you know that someone's idea might take 1 million away from you, you will probably argue a little bit harder than usual. So you get all sorts of different things in a startup, and I think people should be prepared for that. Like in Ph.D., I wasn't involved in this, but there was, I'm not sure how much I should tell you, but there was a number of murder threats, there was a number of cut fires, there was one of the original founders, he was not allowed to continue by the investors and by everyone else. And this kind of very strange, blocky sort of things happens 100 times, for good or for bad. Another story, which is not about the dark side of entrepreneurship, this I tell you. Maybe we were the first, not the worst, I hope not the worst, but the first in the world that did sentiment analysis of text. So you have a lot of texts, and you want to know, is this a positive statement about a company or a brand or something, or is it a negative? And that can differ, of course. A stock investor might think it's positive that you're kicking people out, laying people off, while it's not a good sentence and all that. Now it's called sentiment analysis. When we started, I don't think it had a name, but it was a company that we started in Gothenburg. It's still alive. I sold my share of it, and it has 1,000 users or something like that for sentiment analysis. Another important thing, maybe one of the most important things, is the rule of the electric engine. And now I take the liberty to include, I guess, a competitor, even though I know those guys. And that's logic, just not to only speak about my own company. The thing is, we know that as artificial intelligence researchers, if you know how it works, it's not artificial intelligence. Well, a computer program has beaten the world champion in chess, but that's not artificial intelligence because we know it's just a computer. And all of these things, we are all the way moving the boundaries of what's artificial intelligence. When I started in the mid-1980s, everything regarding text was artificial intelligence, symbolic computation. Search was to words was artificial intelligence. And then we move the boundaries as we think that this is kind of normal. If you go into any website today, an expert system will answer you, because there are rules about what happens if you do this and that. So the boundaries are constantly moving, and we kind of think that as soon as we know this was easy to do, this was just done like that, then it's not AI anymore, it's some kind of a fast information technology. Which is kind of good, because successful technology tends to be invisible. And this is why it's called the role of the electric engine. When the electric engine appeared in the last century, the 20th century, it was a big thing. You could buy your electric engine to your home, big, you were proud of it, it was a status thing, put it on the table, and then you bought appliances for it. You bought something that could steer cream, and you bought different things for your electric engine. And now, we have no idea how many electric engines there are in this room. Every mobile phone has a vibrator, every car has